This week's episode of the Infamous Podcast is brought to you by Comixology.com. Are you in desperate need of a superhero fix? We can help you out. Go to infamouspodcast.com/Comixology and you can get access to Comixology Unlimited free for 30 days. And you can get access to Batman and Wonder Woman and Black Widow and Spider-Man and all these great comic book movies that are supposed to be coming out that have been pushed back. So go to infamouspodcast.com/Comixology and start your free 30-day trial to Comixology Unlimited today. Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
And this is Darryl.
Did you forget your name again?
No, I'm just sad from last night's Supernatural.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's in the show rundown that I have, not the one I gave you. So it's going to be a surprise when we bring it up. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is episode 263. Did you like the title for the show this week? The Siege and the Cookie Thief?
Yeah, and it's funny because you sent it to me before I saw the show.
Oh, sorry.
And I'm like, spoiler.
I skipped the gym today and watched it and then immediately did the show notes. So
yeah, I laughed when I got to the part you were talking about.
So yeah, spoiler alert, Mandalorian macaroons are going to be hitting the shelves any day now.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm surprised they don't have, those gushers, those little fruit treats.
Yes.
They need to have like Baby Yoda shaped gushers now too. So, but we'll get to that later. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so before we get started, I've been really lax in doing this. So I'm going to give a shout out to our patrons, Matt Mitchell and Julian Brown. Thank you, fellas, for backing the show. You guys are awesome. If you guys want to join them, check us out on patreon.com/infamouspodcast. You actually get the episodes early, if you are so inclined. But anyway, yeah. So
for those Patreons, you get the Arcidio. Woo, woo, woo.
No, you don't. Anyway, all right. So before we get into news bites, real quick, I want to say thank you to Kurt Russell. I don't know if you saw his comments today.
No, I did not.
So he said, and I'm going to quote, I don't even have it in front of me, I just remember it. Actors shouldn't be political. We're court jesters. When we're political, it affects their art.
Couldn't say it better myself.
Right? Kurt Russell's the man.
Yeah.
So, everybody's entitled to believe what they want to believe. And his point is that when there's an actor and they're overly political, it affects the roles. And it affects how the role is, not just how the role is played, but how the role is perceived. And so, Olivia Wilde, for example, is like super political, right?
Right.
I don't know if I want to I look at her now, I'm like, oh, you're kind of a douche. Chris Evans. I look at Chris Evans now like completely different.
Yeah. It's not that you have differences of opinion, which again,
right.
That's what makes things great. It's when you press it upon other people and you pretty much demonize someone that has a different opinion than
right.
you.
And that's why, and it's not about the different opinion, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's more of the, because she tweeted at a right-wing female pundit of color and telling her she's pathetic. And it's like, how is that okay? Like, how's that okay to do to anybody, no matter what color they are, no matter what sex they are? Why do you feel like you can sit behind your keyboard and do that? And if anybody did that back to her, that's not okay either.
No, it's not.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just saw that, and everything's so polarized right now, and I know we kind of skirt along the edges of that. We don't normally get into it, but it's like enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. Anyway, so Kurt Russell is and again, he gets it. They're literally court jesters.
It's funny it's funny enough that I remember, was it 2016? Mark Wahlberg said something along the lines of that too. And Anthony Hopkins said something in the last few years about that as well. And again, it's not diminishing the fact that they're human beings with their own opinions.
Right.
It's it's not really necessary to.
I'm whimsical for the days of yore when we didn't talk about who we voted for.
Yeah.
So
let's get back to that.
Yep. Anyway, all right. So first story in News Bites. This is actually a follow up on something we talked about a while ago. With so Polygon had this article: Apple to cut App Store commissions to 15% for some developers. And it says for developers that make up to $1 million a year. So it says here so this was earlier this week. Apple announced a new program for App Store developers that earn up to $1 million a year. The App Store Small Business Program, which cuts Apple's App Store commission from 30% to 15%. The program will begin on January 1st and benefit the vast majority of developers who sell digital goods and services on the store, Apple said in a news release. The 15% cut applies to both paid app downloads and in-app purchases. To qualify, developers must have earned up to $1 million in proceeds during the previous calendar year. Around 98% of developers will be eligible for the program, according to analytics firm Sensor Tower, numbers cited by The Verge. This is really good.
Yeah.
So, one of the big just kind of pains in the ass, right, is Apple charges so much to just be in the store, and then they wield that App Store with an iron fist about like what you can and can't put in there, what you can and what content can and can't be on there. So at least now they're taking a little less cheddar, a little less Skrilla, if you will, from some of these devs.
Yeah, and the fact that they do it for in-app purchases as well.
Yeah. So
and again, granted, even though it affects 90, it says what around 98% of developers.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have someone like Epic, and again, I know in the article it still mentions that suit is still ongoing. Right. I believe.
I love how Epic Games' lawyer called the 30% tax oppressive.
I mean, that is.
I think what's more oppressive is the fact that you can submit something to be approved, and Apple will just sit on it for months before approving an app, or it's approved and you want to do an update and they're like, yeah, no, you can't update that yet, and it's like, but my game is full of bugs. Tough.
Oh man, that's it.
So
I have issues with stuff like that.
Yeah. So oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say, this is a good start, at least. It is.
Yep. So I mean, and Apple's not the only one. Valve takes 30% for Steam games.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't want to demonize Apple for any more than like I already do. Even though I'm 100% in the Apple ecosystem, but I mean, they do some pretty stupid things from time to time, and especially like dongles, right? It's like just like
So you've broken the fanboy mold. When you're a fanboy, you're not supposed to be able to criticize what you like.
See, I disagree. When I am a fanboy, I should be able to criticize more because I'm knowledgeable about the topic.
That's not what the internet says, but no, it's just funny that.
Well, it's a good thing this is not on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Whoa. Rewind that back.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I look at this as good news. I think this is something that has needed to happen for a while, and hopefully they stick with it, and these developers who work really hard to make our mobile phones a great experience, see a little more money.
Yeah, like the only game I actually play is Solitaire on my phone. And I just got to 213 days straight on that. So
yeah. So I play 3. I play actually 4. Let me rephrase that. I play Marvel's Clash of Champions. It's a fighting game, kind of like Mortal Kombat, right, but with Mortal characters. I play Clash of Clans because I'm in a really good clan. I play Bike Unchained 2. It's a mountain biking game, and then Wordscapes. That's like the only games I play. Oh, and the Alto games. Sorry, the Alto games are fun, but those are coming out on Switch. So
when are they going to do a one-wheel game?
I don't know. Although I did just get a new back foot pad for my one wheel. It came today, and then when it came, they also shout out to Craft and Ride had a new grip tape for the front pad, and that worked out because I kind of tore the front grip tape last time I went for a ride because I totally wasn't paying attention at one point and had to bail. So, so yeah, I got all that changed out and I didn't even get a chance to go ride today. So, well, let me rephrase that. I did not get a chance to go ride outside today because now I have all this extra room in the office I can ride around.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've seen the room. I see. Yeah.
Yeah. I was doing it all day today.
Thinking.
Yeah, I was just on there just riding back and forth. So anyway, so moving on. So Wonder Woman 1984 is doing what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers listens to us, obviously. So we need to start wielding that power better than we have been.
Yeah, with an iron fist.
With an iron fist. Okay, so Warner's announced that Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out on Christmas Day, 2020, and it is unprecedented for the superhero tentpole because it's also going to open in the theaters. And I thought that Patty Jenkins really had a great statement there about it. So I'm going to read her statement because, like I said, this was great. She says, "The time has come. At some point, you have to choose to share any love and joy you have to give over anything else. I'm sorry, everything else. We love our movie as we love our fans, so we truly hope that our film brings a little bit of joy and reprieve to all of you this holiday season. Watch it in theaters where it's made safe to do so. Check out the great work theaters have done to make it so, and available in the safety of your own home on HBO Max where it is not. Happy holidays to all of you. We hope you enjoy our film as much as we enjoyed making it." I think this is great. I think, I've seen a lot of videos like from Jeremy at the Quarterine and some others where they're talking about, oh, this is the end of movie theaters, but not really. I don't think this is the end of movie theaters. I think this is the end of the current model. I think this is great that they're not going the Disney route and saying, guess what? You pay a subscription to our service. Now pay another $30. Flying the birds at Disney right there for that one. Yeah, I don't know. Thoughts?
So the one thing I think I said something along the lines of, releasing it and then maybe a couple weeks later releasing it digitally, theater first and then digitally. I think a whole week has passed since then.
Yeah,
so,
it's been a long. It's been a long time. I mean, in 2020 time, that's like 44 years.
Yeah.
So
plus media, I've had like so much going on this week at work. Yeah.
So real quick, we did not note it will open on December 16th overseas. My bad. So.
Oh, okay. So they get it now. Didn't they say it's going to be open for a week overseas?
Yeah. It opens on the 16th. Or the 18th then. So whatever, just a week before. So.
Yeah, I do like this strategy in the sense of not continually pushing stuff out. That's one of the things we've talked about. I mean, other people have talked about too. And you're going to have a traffic jam of movies, and unless you release them digitally.
Yeah.
Now, as far as being the end of movie theaters, I think this is a slope that they're on the precipice right now. It's definitely an end to how we looked at movies and how we've looked at releases, which is not necessarily a bad thing. My concern, and it's not with Wonder Woman. We'll have to see next year how stuff plays out, how they release movies and stuff. I'm just a little concerned of some of these movie theaters, staying open, or because you're gonna see a lot of. When I say theaters, I don't mean the chains. I mean the actual individual, theaters.
Yeah.
You're going to see some of these closing around the country.
I mean, honestly, we're gonna kind of have to. I mean, the time of having, like, where I am and where you are. I mean, I've got within a 20-minute drive, I can go to 8 different theaters.
Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3. In Northern Kentucky, I have 3.
So, because I can go to the one by my house, I can go to the one that's not by my house but still close. I can go to the Rave. I can go to Showcase. I can go down to Oakley. I can go to the Envision Bistro. I can go up to Dayton, so.
Yeah. And that's like 2 or 3 more for me if I'm adding Ohio into it.
Yeah, so, but I mean, I'm just saying with it, but that's all a 20-minute drive. That's not.
You're right.
Like, if I count going down to your house, it's like 14 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it like if this streamlines things a little bit better, you know how they say chop the fat or what have you, and make things better and more available for people, overall. Because again, there's going to be people. I think myself, depending on what I have going on Christmas, I actually might go to the theater and see it.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
It depends on what's going on.
I don't know if Ohio's going to be under curfew at that time again or still or whatnot, but. I will say I think this is good for HBO Max because HBO 100%. Max. Well, HBO Max does not have the best content. It's got good content, but it could be better, much better. And I think this is a great way to get people into it. I really want them to change the UI so you can better understand like what's on there. Because they have like these weird like featured and A to Z and like like you can't necessarily see everything in one view. That's what I would love, right? To just see everything in alphabetical order. So, but no, I think this will be really, really good. Because they've got a long way to go, right? HBO, I think they've got like 8.9 million subscribers is the number I saw, and everyone who has HBO with cable gets HBO now or HBO Max for free, and something like 60% of those people have not activated that.
Wow.
So, and this is going to be on HBO Max. It's not going to be on HBO cable.
HBO.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that is like for Christmas. I think this is a very good plan for HBO Max to on Christmas. Hey, Merry Christmas. Get an HBO Max subscription. Although I will wonder how many people will get, a 7-day trial just to see this movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's part of that, but you get that 7-day trial. You're like, I want to rewatch The Sopranos. Oh, I want to rewatch Deadwood, or let's go rewatch the last season of Game of Thrones and find out it wasn't as bad as everybody says it was.
Yeah, I honestly, it's a win-win for HBO Max, even if a certain percentage of people just do the trial, right? Because there are going to be people that are going to stick around. That always happens.
Yeah, or people who just forget that they signed up and then they pay.
Yeah.
So and the thing is it's like what, $16 a month after tax. All they have to do is get families to stay on for 3 months, and they've already made more than they would have at the theater.
Yeah,
and they don't have to share any of that with the movie theaters.
Yeah, because what is it, a 50-50 take? Or
it depends on, like, I think Disney is like 60-40. It just depends on the deal that they have. So,
okay.
But yeah, so sticking with DC, we've got the Snyder Cut news coming out. So I guess there was a new trailer and a new Steppenwolf image, and they're talking about a potential sequel already, which I think is a little premature.
Yeah. As much as excited as I am to see this, on that note, the sequel, slow down just a little bit.
Let's slow that roll. I will say, Steppenwolf's updated look is very, very good. He looks like a thorn bush that could totally kick the crap out of you, instead of looking like a weird, like, brain chainmail, like, person who's tired and looks like they're about to fall asleep with the whole time. Like, I'm so bored with Earth. Oh,
yeah. That design in Justice League was god awful. It was awful.
So, but seeing Darkseid with the big axe at the beginning of the new trailer, and the all that fun stuff, Superman. Again, I think Zack Snyder is more than a little obsessed with Leonard Cohen, and Hallelujah, but that's all right. It's a great song. Looking at it, because the trailer's in black and white, I think it'd be really cool if the movie was just in black and white.
I think they're going to offer that.
Really? I didn't see
thought
anything
that
about
I'd
that.
seen something. Well, not like I thought I saw. It might have been rumor, but this was a few weeks ago. Maybe I saw that. Just kind of like how they have it in Logan, where you can watch it and the noir version of it, or what have you.
But so I think this will be interesting to see. I mean, so so here's another thing, is I saw somebody complaining like, oh, it's only got 4 additional minutes, right?
People.
So he went back and said they filmed like 4 additional minutes with the Joker. And so people are like, oh, it's 4 additional minutes. No, apparently Whedon only used 15% of the footage that they shot.
Yes.
So this is going to be an 85% different movie at minimum.
Yeah, I saw people saying that, and I don't know if it was just people that don't like the idea that people quote unquote got their way and are getting a Snyder cut. I have a friend that was like that, and it's just like, dude, Justice League was terrible.
Here's the thing, is all people said was, we want the Snyder cut. There was no, we're boycotting this or that. Right. They were just like, hey, we would like to see this version of the person who's listed as the director. We would like to see their version of the movie. I still think Justice League was awful. I don't think this is going to be great by any stretch of the imagination, but it could be good. It could be middling. It could be middling to fair, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, and I think the ceiling for this is good. And it's because I know what to expect. We've talked about expectations from Zack Snyder. I know what I'm going to get with Zack Snyder. I know exactly what I'm going to get. It's not going to be, just blow you out of the park with, just that thought provoking for the most part. It's a ride. It's a thrill ride. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Sometimes I go to the movies. I love thrill rides at movies. So I know what I'm going to get. So I think good is the ceiling. I think fair is probably the floor. So I have no doubt. And again, how do you know? Because I saw Justice League once, and I can't bring myself to watch it again. It's going to be better than that piece. So
I rewatched. I think I told you I rewatched it like 2 months ago, and it's so bad. It's so bad, and it's just full of that just like Joss Whedon bullshit, like just nonsense, like no. Just no, nothing. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So so Snyder Cut coming to a TV screen near you in 2021.
Is it June? Maybe.
I didn't see where it said, so I'm not going to guess. All right. So moving on. Star Wars Squadrons is getting an update. So it launched in October, and coming out. Well, where'd it go? So coming out soon. For the holidays, there is going to be a free 2-part content update. A new multiplayer app, 4 new ship components will be added this month, and then 2 new starfighters and custom matches will be deployed in December. The 2 new starfighters are the B-Wing and the TIE Defender, which are the ships that Thrawn made in Rebels and I believe in the Timothy Zahn book. It's been a minute, but yeah. So this will be really, really interesting because the B-Wing is badass. I love the B-Wing.
You're a B-Wing fanboy?
I actually kind of am. So because you know how you buy the little die-cast ships, right?
I love those things.
So I got the Razor Crest. I got the Clone Wars dropship, and there's a B-Wing. In every store I go and look and see if they have it, and I've never seen it. So like I just want the B-Wing really, really bad, because it's such a cool ship, because essentially it's a cockpit that the ship just rolls around.
Yeah.
So, and they introduced the B-Wing in Rebels, where Hera was the first person to fly it, and you got to see why. Like you got to see why they had one B-Wing, and it took them till Return of the Jedi to have more. I think because it was such a difficult ship to build and maneuver and pilot. So yeah. And I'm a big fan of the Alphabet Squad, the Alexander Freed Alphabet Squadron books. So having the B-Wing now, they'll have the whole Alphabet Squadron. So I'm hoping to get a cameo from them in the game.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me about that book series a couple months ago.
It's really good. It's really really good. Well worth the read and or listen. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So I was about to say, since I'm not a huge FPS fan in the sense of flying games. I'm a huge shooter fan, but like I was telling you, this is a game I will definitely check out when it gets to that $20 mark.
Yeah,
$20 mark, which should happen sometime next year, I'm assuming.
I would hope so. But I mean, it's only $40. I mean, it's not like it's that expensive.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not full price, which I do like that they did that as well. But I'll have to check because I just saw that the PlayStation Store has their Black Friday, but everything must go type sale that just started, I guess, today.
So I need to check that out too.
I don't think Squadrons will be on there.
No, probably not.
Who knows?
So, but yeah, so it's exciting. There's links in the show notes. They've got pictures of the B-Wing and the TIE Defender, and then the map that they're adding is Foster Haven, and the pictures that they have on the EA games or the EA website is pretty cool because there's a Star Destroyer and it's got like a red glow to it, and it's like, why didn't they ever paint those things red? That's freaking cool. So
I will say, and again, this is in the show notes, but also Marvel's Avengers, Kate Bishop is coming as a playable character sometime next month as well.
Yeah, that game's lost like $50 million. I don't think it's worth it to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, that was just it is for me. Just
yeah, because, I know. I'm teasing.
I say it is for me, and I haven't actually played it in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so.
It's fun. I mean, it's a fun game. Don't get me wrong, but it's glitchy as all hell. They pushed it out too early. Nope.
It should not have been released.
They should have waited like 6 or 8 months. They should have given it the Cyberpunk treatment and just said it's coming, and then pushing it back and back.
Oh, I can't wait for
and
Cyberpunk.
Back. It's never coming out, man.
It's coming out December 10th.
No, it's not. It's gonna be December 9th, and they're like, oh, it's coming out December 11th.
Can you imagine if they did that?
I hope they do. So
at 11:58 on December 9th, due to unforeseen circumstances, we will have to push this back indefinitely.
Just push it. We have to push it back a day. We're just not ready. So, anyway, all right. So next story, Supernatural finale.
Man.
So I watched it today.
That's so funny. You watched it.
Well, so I was working and it's like, I couldn't do any more YouTube videos of the type of videos that we like to watch. And I had started watching the karate combat stuff and I was not paying attention to what I was doing and I was watching karate combat. So I put on the Supernatural finale. I hold almost every pilot I see to the standard of the Supernatural pilot.
Yes.
I think it is a fantastic first opening salvo to a show. I think it did so much showing what the show was going to be about and introducing these two great characters in Sam and Dean, that I'm curious if there's anyone who's actually disappointed in this finale. Oh, by the way, spoilers. Not super spoilers, but spoilers.
So I told you how disappointed I was with last week's episode. Horribly disappointed. It wasn't a terrible episode, but it was one of those where you could tell from start to finish how rushed it was. It was in one episode it should have taken place over 2 episodes at least because it was just so important.
Mm-hmm.
This more than made up for it for me, at least.
I called the shot.
Yes, you did.
So,
you said that a while ago, I think.
I did, and it's because it made sense. It made sense for the story.
Yes.
So
yes, it makes 100% sense, especially with someone who like me who's watched the show. And for those who haven't watched it, hey, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
All 15 seasons.
Actually, this season will be on. This one will be on in 8 days. So
So the last 6 episods, I think, or 7. Okay. I can't remember.
What I was gonna do is I was gonna be like, man, that was a really great 10 years later retrospective that they did after Supernatural ended 10 years ago.
It's kind of funny because you said you stopped watching in what I would call the worst season of Supernatural
because it was awful, and there was no reason to watch it, and there was no reason to go back. And now it's funny though because I watched. I'm like, you motherfuckers, because I'm gonna go back and watch now.
Yeah, I was, for the first half of the episode, I was like, oh, this is okay and cool. That last half of the episode, man, I look like a little baby.
I gotta say, Jared Padalecki's hair, or Jared Padalecki, right? It's Adrian Padalecki. Anyway, Jared Padalecki's hair was all over the place in this finale. Like at one point, it looked like they must have done a reshoot because he had like a really bad like Prince Valiant wig on, and then a couple times it's like, is he losing his hair? Like he's got a fantastic. Why is his forehead so big in this scene? Like I couldn't not pay attention to it, which is not something I normally notice, but it was like so glaring. But then the old man makeup, like he's a young guy. I mean, he's a youngish guy. Like the old man makeup, it didn't look like they had a whole lot of makeup on, so he was doing something with his face to look old and crotchety, which was really quite cool. But yeah,
and you can tell the last couple episodes. So I think they said before the shutdown they had filmed most of or almost all of episode 18.
Okay.
And then these last two were post-COVID, what have you, and you could tell because the cast was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my biggest disappointment was not seeing some of the characters that we've known and loved over the 15 years. However, with that being said, I do like how this ended because this show started with Sam and Dean.
Yeah, it ended the way it started with the two of them.
Right.
I liked the vampire throwback because I remembered her, and when she showed up, it's like, hey, I know her. That was pretty cool. And yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty decent. I mean, let me rephrase that. It was a really satisfying finale for someone who hasn't put the last 10 years of effort into the show.
Yeah, and so for me, you magnify that what you said with I've watched this show with every step of the way. Yeah. It used to be with my ex. We used to call it Supernatural Tuesdays, and then it was Mondays, and then it was Wednesdays. It's been on every day of the week, except maybe Saturday and Sunday, I think. But it's one of those that it's still sticking with me. And there's, like with anything else, there's going to be disappointment. People are going to be disappointed.
Okay, I have some questions.
Okay.
What was that building that they lived in? And why was there nobody else there?
So that came back in season, I don't even know what season that was. That's the bunker. So what they found out is that they were what do you call it when people are legacies? They were legacies for the Men of Letters. And what the Men of Letters are, so you know how Doctor Strange says, protects reality from the dark arts. Think of the Men of Letters in that type particular vein, in the sense of, the hunters are the ones on the ground, boots on the ground. The Men of Letters are the ones, a little bit higher up. So they found out that their great-grandfather or grandfather was the Men of Letters, and they, the bunker, and season 8 maybe, I can't remember the season, but since then that's been their go-to home.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool because you can only do motels for so long. But that's what that was.
I really like seeing the Ohio license plate on the Impala.
Oh yeah,
I think that's cool. But yeah, no, I thought it was a really good finale. It didn't get as dusty here as it did for you, I'm sure. But there was definitely some feels to be had. And honestly, like if you watched just the first 5 seasons and then you watched just this episode, it's like, this is a really cool retrospective on like what happened, like, to the brothers.
Yeah. And it's fun. I'll read a quote from that finale from season 5, and it ties up very well with this. But it's funny because there was this, I got in-game vibes in that one of the conversations between Sam and Dean, and I think you know what I'm talking about with "Tell me it's okay."
Yeah.
And oh man, it's a little dusty in here already.
It's okay to go, Darryl.
But yeah, so it was funny. I just kind of got that, vibe from that scene. But what I'm going to read is, and I think I told you a little bit about Chuck.
Yeah.
And who Chuck was and they had a retrospective on before this where they talked about initially Chuck was just going to be a prophet, and he ended up being God. So in that season 5 finale, with the Sam and Sam is Lucifer is in Sam and all that stuff, and when all of this is going on, this is what Chuck says: endings are hard. You try to tie up every loose end, but you never can. Fans are always going to bitch. There's always going to be holes, and since it's the ending, it's all supposed to add up to something. I'm telling you, they're a raging pain in the ass, and that is true. Like, I mean, I know you mentioned earlier Game of Thrones. I mean, you think of some of the shows, Buffy or Angel. I'm thinking genre shows.
Yeah, Angel had a great finale too.
I loved Angel's finale.
I did not hate the Battlestar Galactica finale.
Yeah, and you see what I mean, though.
Yeah, Dexter. Like Dexter's a great example of a universally hated series finale.
Yes, right.
So,
and I think this finale, though. I know everybody's not going to like it, but I think it was a perfect capstone to 15 years of this show. And I mean, I would have liked to have seen some of the other people that we've known and loved over the years, but it just makes sense. It's a perfect bookend with that first episode, Dad's on a hunting trip.
Yeah.
Versus this.
I also liked too that when he got to where he was going, Jim Beavers was there waiting for him.
Yes. I think that was necessary as the, him being, Bobby Singer being there. I think that was, apropos because he was actually there for them more than John Winchester.
He was Dean's dad. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He was.
So,
Idiots.
Yeah, idiot. I literally popped for that one with a huge laugh, and I liked that it was his bar or store or whatever it was there. And then so carry on, my wayward son, which is your ringtone when you call me. By the way, I don't think you knew that.
that's. Oh no, I have it as my ringtone when my parents call me.
Yeah. So I like that Dean got the original Kansas version, and then Sam got this really cool, like, kind of compilation mix of it.
Yeah, and
which I really liked. So, and it made sense for the two of them, because I'll never ever forget when Sam had the Impala when Dean died the first time in like season 3 or 4.
Yes.
And he came back and he had the iPod in there, and Dean ripped it out and like, threw it. He threw it in the back. So, it just again, it was the great balance of the difference between the two of them. So, yeah. I can't our friend Alicia, she loves Supernatural, and Dean in particular. So, I kept meaning to like reach out to her today, so I'll have to reach out.
You might have to check and see if she's okay.
So I'm gonna ask her if she's marked safe from the Supernatural finale. But yeah, no, I liked it. I just kind of watched it on a whim. I'm probably gonna go back and maybe watch this last season. I don't know. We'll see. It just seems like a lot of effort to watch 10 years worth of shows, especially when they're 22 episode seasons.
Yeah,
So if it was like 13, maybe. If it's 10, absolutely. But yeah, 22.
22 is a lot.
Yeah,
That's
and
it's
a 22 episodes of a CW show, so there's gonna be filler, and yeah. So speaking of filler,
cookies.
So I totally thought this episode was gonna be filler of The Mandalorian. So we're gonna spoil this one a little more than we spoiled the Supernatural finale. But okay, so the little summary for the Mandalorian Chapter 12, The Siege. The Mandalorian returns to his friends Greef, Karga, and Cara Dune on Nevarro for repairs on his ship, but is talked into blowing up an old imperial base. Little to everyone's knowledge, there is a lot more taking place at the base.
At that rhyming.
Wah, wah, wah. So
he always gets roped into stuff.
He's so dumb. He's so dumb. All right, I'm just gonna spoil something at the end. He's so dumb. He did not bother to check his ship. He talks about he's on the run and speed is of the essence, and it's the only thing keeping him alive. You know what I'm doing anytime anyone touches my ship or anytime I come back to my ship after it's been gone? I'm checking for a goddamn tracker.
Especially when you know that people are after the child.
Yeah. And you know, honestly, the child's a little bit of a prick.
He really is.
So I have a
He's
theory.
a jerk.
I have
He's
a
jerk
theory.
faces,
I feel like they're making him an asshole. So when he goes to Ahsoka's show, people aren't going to miss him so much on The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think it's kind of more along the lines of, well, I was going to say it's more along the lines of Baby Groot, how Baby Groot, like when he got a little bit older,
maybe
he became a jerk, but that would still go in line with what you're saying.
Yeah. So I'm curious as to how many people are going to watch episodes 6, 7, and 8 after Baby Yoda goes with Ahsoka at the end of episode 5.
Oh, people are going to be so disappointed.
I don't think he's going to go. I think at the end of the season, he's going to go off with Ahsoka.
That actually, to be honest, that makes more sense from a storytelling perspective.
Absolutely.
Ahsoka is, I mean, she's technically not a Jedi, but Ahsoka has Force powers.
Yep.
Who better to train and teach this child than someone with Force
Yep.
powers?
And she's but she's also connected. She's deeply connected to the Force, whether she's a Jedi or not.
Oh yeah, that's why I just said kind of like technically.
And she got to see everything Obi-Wan did wrong with Anakin. And everything Yoda did wrong with Anakin, and everything that Mace Windu did wrong with Anakin, and everything that the Jedi just in general did wrong with Anakin. So, yeah. This episode, The Siege, it was directed by Carl Weathers, Greef, Karga, Apollo Creed himself, written by Jon Favreau. And we got to see the return of Mithril, Horatio Sands' character from the pilot, and Dr. Pershing, the mad scientist who was draining the blood from Baby Yoda for his M count.
Yes.
Did you catch that?
Yes, I said, oh, midichlorians.
Oh, well, they're bringing back the prequel series, but they're not bringing back the sequel series. What's going on here? And we got Giancarlo finally, like, in not just a, brief, like, telegram of him. So, yeah, I don't know. I actually ended up really liking this episode, and I thought the action scene when they were escaping the Imperial base was some of the best action we've seen on the show thus far.
I actually meant to text you and say this chase scene is amazing.
Amazeballs, if you will.
Yeah, watching the speeder bikes come down the cliff like that was my favorite individual.
Shot. We're sitting here watching. Angel and I were sitting there watching it this morning, right? And Cara takes the transport over the edge. And she's like, what's happening? I'm like, it's on repulsors. It'll be fine. There's no wheels.
Wait, was that my... Yeah.
So,
wait, was that my speeder?
No, it wasn't. You're fine. It's fine. It's all good. Nothing to see here. We're fine. We're all fine here. That's a boring conversation anyway. But no, like it took you a second. I'm glad you finally got that. This was really good. I thought it had a ton of action. It had stormtroopers. It had an Imperial base. It had Imperial light cruiser. It was, it
had some really good little hint drop or, Easter egg drops, because when they went into the classroom, the teacher mentioned something about the Kessel Run.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. You know, um, I really liked pretty much everything about this. Now, you and I are both big fans of Gina Carano. I thought Cara did great. I loved how it opened on Nevarro with her down in the Culver. I think that's how do you say that? Where the armorer used to make the Beskar, and the little butt-faced dudes from Star Wars were from, I don't know their species, and I forgot to look it up.
Baboon mouth, I don't know.
Something, yeah. But they were down there, and they're like, it's the Marshal, and I was like, sweet, another Marshal, sweet, it's Cara Dune as the Marshal.
Yeah.
So it was something very cool. You got to see her in action, being very physical the way she is, especially after the little bit of humor that we got to start, because the Razor Crest was not in hyperspace when we pick it up. And he's trying to get the child to put the right wire in the right port, and the Baby Yoda just decided to electrocute himself, which was pretty funny. By the way,
now that really reminded me of Guardians too.
Yeah,
with Groot and the
that's the next pop, right? Baby Yoda with the two wires together with his ears up and smoke coming off of him.
Oh, you have to do a pop of that.
Honestly, that would be a cool Q-Fig. That'd be a much cooler Q-Fig than a pop. So yeah, QMX, you can have that one for free. Just send me one. And I'll give it to Darryl. Yeah. So anyway, but no, so that was funny. And then them sitting there drinking their soup or tea or coffee or whatever it was. So I think
use a straw.
I think this is the time after Pedro walked off, because they were saying he got mad around this time, and I can only imagine it was because Katie Sackhoff, Sasha Banks, and the dude Mando could take their helmets off, but he was stuck with his helmet on, because the helmet was he'd tilt it up, take a drink, put it back down. It's just leave it up. Just leave it a little bit there, or you said, get a straw.
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man has his mouth open.
Yeah. Just you can be flying upside down and you can make out with Baby Yoda, whatever. I mean, he's 50, so it's okay.
That's a little weird. It's a little weird, man.
Anyway, but no, they get there. The Razor Crest is just falling apart.
Okay. I must say, whoever Greef Karga employs for his engineers and stuff, they need a raise, because they fixed that ship in record time.
Well, see, they don't, though, because they work for the Empire.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't know that. So, yeah, they need a raise.
Yeah. So it was funny when, when they have the TIE fighters chasing them. Mm-hmm. And now, what is that transport called?
The Marauder.
Marauder. Okay. So when they're in the Marauder, for a second I'm thinking, are those X-Wings again?
Oh.
But it didn't have the sound of the X-Wings blaster.
Yeah.
But
no.
Because I was like, I know that's not the Razor.
Is that the Falcon?
It is the Razor.
Hondo Anaka comes flying in the Falcon.
That would have been hilarious.
Dude, that would have been the most fan servicey thing. Even I would have,
absolutely.
As much as I love Hondo, I would have groaned at that. I'd been like, oh, are you kidding? It is me, it is Hondo. I'm here to save the day.
They are not alone.
I had a friend who was a Jedi once. The guy who voices, it's Jim Cummings who voices Hondo, is the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
That is hilarious. That is
and so
a different voice.
So he has done things where he'll do different characters, but in Winnie the Pooh's voice. And he's like, I am the night. I am vengeance. I don't do Winnie the Pooh very well, but oh bother. But they're hilarious. But yeah, so it's just one of those things. No, the Razor Crest comes from out of nowhere. But let's talk about the inside of the base.
Yes. And
so
the goings on.
There is is built over a volcano of sorts, a lava river, if you will.
Lava lake, yeah, lake. Like
a
fire.
It is a large collection of lava underneath this particular base, and there is a single point of failure, which is just turning off of the computer.
Yeah,
and
terrible engineering.
And at no point, after they found out that Din Djarin, Greef Karga, Mithril, and the fantastic Cara Dune were there, did they ever go back and be like, hey, let's make sure they didn't mess with this one thing?
Yeah, the Imperial troop, or the entire Imperial organization, in the sense of disaster management, needs a little bit of work.
Yeah, there's a lot to be desired there.
No cameras there, no alarms.
Nothing.
No. Yeah.
I mean, and there were probably like, I don't know, let's say 25 stormtroopers max. Yet they had an entire field of TIE fighters. But Greef Karga thought, no, it's just this abandoned base. So they had abandoned TIE fighters that you just left out there. You didn't just go get them and use them for protection of your planet.
Yeah, I don't know where he got his information, but he needs to kind of.
So I know I sound like I'm really nitpicking because I really did like this episode. No.
But some of the things that happened in this episode were plot convenient, to say the least.
So did you ever watch? It was the one with the Wong family. Just Off the Boat, or Fresh Off the Boat.
No.
Did you ever watch Fresh Off the Boat? No. Okay. So Eddie, the character who is like the main character of the show, the guy Eddie Wong wrote the book that the show is based on about his life. He called the Goonies the Coincidences because they coincidentally always had everything they needed. This episode was the coincidences of The Mandalorian. It just so happened like everything they needed just happened to be there.
Yeah, it's funny because we were talking about Supernatural before this, and one of the things people would always talk about the Winchesters is the plot armor is heavy with them, but it ends up making sense why.
But it only covers their front. Too soon?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Anyway,
that is like you and the whole Black Widow thing.
Oh, I gotta track down a Dean Winchester toy now.
Anyway,
this is gonna be fun because the iPhone 12 Pro Max has an amazing camera, and I'm gonna kill that guy a lot of ways.
Yeah, you were sending me some of the photos of the new figures.
Yup. So, well, the Cara Dune one's not new. That's what's wrong with me. I mean, I did that whole Deadpool kills the Lego universe thing.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, that was fun.
Talking about Black Widow and Dean, that's
Black
Widow. Okay, that's been over a year. So, but Dean, that's like that just.
I know it's like a day old. So, and I'm already getting to the point.
Something's wrong with
you. We were at Target and they had a Black Widow Christmas ornament. I was like, Haley, we should get this, and I can knock it off the tree for you every day. Anyway, so the coincidences that were happening in this show that they just happened to have everything they needed. But in the base, there was the communication from Dr. Persing to Moff Gideon about the blood from the child that had the metachlorians, that they were trying to make clones or something, and it was disfiguring them. So there are a lot of people who think this is actually tying to the sequel trilogies trying to make Snoke.
Yeah, and
but
that was something I saw quickly. I didn't do a lot of looking up on the interwebs or YouTube videos today, but one of the videos did mention that.
But if you paid attention at the end, Gideon was in a little corridor filled with creatures of some kind, or armored troopers, if you will. Yeah. And apparently, if you watch with
closed caption?
No, not the closed caption. The accessibility that explains what's happening. It says that it calls those things dark troopers, which is something from the expanded universe that it looks like they may be bringing into canon.
Okay.
But it's really, I don't know. It's really kind of cool because it's like, what if they're making force sensitive dark troopers like serve the Empire and Legends, right? How cool is that? If that's what they're doing, and then that's like what Gideon is going to do to like hang on to Mandalore, or that's how Gideon is going to get some sort of force sensitivity. You know, he's trying to perfect it so that he can take he can raise his metachlorian count to be high enough that he can do that.
Right. So it's funny that, and it kind of apropos because I don't know if you saw in Hasbro Pulse that there was a couple G.I. Joe figure releases. And
I know Flint.
I pre-ordered. One was the Battle Android Trooper. I think it was 11 or 12-inch version. It didn't look that great for me. But that was the first thing I thought of. It might have been because it was fresh in my mind, but it's like those look like some bat type troopers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. So can you explain a little bit more about what the dark troopers are and like where do they show up?
So they're I don't even remember. It's been so long. But they're from here. Let me just pull up. So they're kind of like a hybrid person android droid type thing, if I remember correctly. Okay. And they were from Legends, and are they canon? Let's see here. So it's basically a battle droid, but that's nearly indestructible. So I think, I don't know. So I think this is interesting because I thought they were making Death Troopers, is what I thought when I first saw it. And I didn't get the Dark Trooper thing until a little later on in the day as I was starting to like read a few things and check some things out. But I don't know. I think they're going to be able to do a lot of different things.
And that I will say that's one of the things I'm really liking about this season, how they sprinkle nuggets of information in. They're kind of feeding us like the Baby Yoda with the blue cookie. They're just giving us just enough to throw out all these theories, but not enough to like get a full on take of what's going on. And I like having that mystery with as long as as long as they do a good job of paying it off, which Favreau's writing all of this stuff. I have 100% confidence that he will deliver.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm really liking is that, even in these quote unquote filler episodes, we get stuff that advances the story of Moff Gideon and some of the stuff that we saw at the end of last year. Yeah.
So next week is, so it's called The Jedi, but it looks like they've taken that down. So maybe it's not called The Jedi. But next week is actually written and directed by Dave Filoni. So for a fact Ahsoka's going to show up because there's no way anyone else deserves to do the live action Ahsoka more than Dave.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this episode.
Next
week.
I thought this was a great like calm before the storm, because here we are right at the end of the first half of the season, and we're moving into the second half, and like this is where the season last time really picked up. At episode 5. So this was a nice little calm before the storm. Now let's run with it and like do it. I think. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's really good. I don't know. I'm enjoying this season. I know a lot of people didn't like the second episode on the frozen planet. I thought that was necessary because they had to get the Razor Crest all like messed up somehow. Or else he would not have gone to where he was and been able to find the Mandalorians, and then he wouldn't have had to stop back at Naboo. or Nevarro. Sorry, Navu. Back at Nevarro. So yeah, I just think
yeah. I and again I mentioned that I probably episode 2 is my least favorite, but I liked it for the horror aspects, and that was one of the things I talked about when we reviewed it. Is the horror elements because wasn't Peyton Reed, didn't he direct that one, that episode?
Yep.
So I did like that part of it, but overall I just really enjoying what we're getting from this season.
Yeah.
Like and again,
it's just building out the world so much of this post Jedi like time frame that we don't have a lot of.
Right.
So I mean really the only thing, and I don't even know if it's canon anymore, that's like post Jedi like live action is those goddamn Ewok movies. Yeah, exactly.
Did I block those out?
So
I probably blocked
they were like on ABC. They were like a movie of the month, movie of the week type thing.
So I one thing I will mention, and I just happened to see this right before we started up. It was, I don't know what article, what site, but it was saying that the Mandalorian just gave Cara Dune a possible way out to be written out of the show or something like that.
Okay, no, the people who hate Gina Carano.
I didn't read the article. I just saw that headline, and I just rolled my eyes.
So there's all these people who are just attacking Gina Carano online, right? Because she's some sort of ist or ism or whatnot. Here's the thing. They are just those people are not Star Wars fans, Disney or otherwise. They are fans of hate. They're fans of outrage, and they are fans of anything that they deem pops their tiny little bubble of existence. And Gina Carano is she the best actress? No. But she's doing a really good job as Cara Dune, because Cara Dune is a shell-shocked drop trooper who is trying to re-engage with the universe.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that, because I was just about to bring up that last scene she has where what is his name?
Commander Teva. Commander Teva.
Yeah. When he says, did you lose people on Alderaan? And just that, I lost everyone.
Yeah, I lost everything.
Like, that was just in those short little lines, like you said, she's a shell-shock trooper. She, someone that's gone through all that has lost everything. I love that delivery of that line by her, and just the emotion on her face, because again, like you said, obviously, she's not the greatest actress.
No.
That does, but she embodies that character so well.
Right.
That's all you can ask for anyone.
Gina Carano is not an actress. She's a fighter, and she is fighting her way through this role as best as she can. And, for the people who are Star Wars fans, Cara Dune is a great character and a touch point to the rebellion and the people who were left behind from the rebellion, who did not have a place in the New Republic.
Right. And I just love that little nugget of the Alderaan, making that connection.
Although I thought it was really weird when he said, I served in Alderaan, and it's like, well, Alderaan wasn't like a skirmish or anything. It was, really what happened was the Death Star was orbiting it. Princess Leia lied about Dantooine. Tarkin knew it, and he destroyed her homeworld.
Well, he also said that's too far away to make an example.
Yeah. So I don't know. So there's just some weird language in this one, and like there's a lot of nitpicky stuff worth nitpicking about. But it was still a really good episode. So reception wise, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 14 critics reviews right now as of recording this. And the consensus is The Siege doesn't take the season by storm, but Carl Weathers' deft direction and some exciting character moments for Giancarlo Esposito make it another enjoyable installment.
Yes, and I can't say anything else about that, because again, I really like how this season how each episode has built on the preceding episode or the previous episode, and how we get character moments from. I mean, I don't think we got much of character moment in this time around for Greef, but just seeing that from Cara Dune.
Actually, we did, because he was talking about how like, oh, I'm an administrator now, and like it was very Lando Calrissian, and
I was about to, I forgot about that part where he'd gone from a kind of like smuggler type to he's an honorable an honest man now.
I do like that Mithril.
Honest-ish.
Yeah, honest-ish. I do like that Mithril was his bookkeeper, and the reason he was on the run is because he did some embezzlement there, and now he's serving a 350-year sentence.
But did he knock off 130 of those?
Yeah, I think 180. Like he knocked off a good chunk of it in this episode. Yeah. So, I don't know. That was just really funny. How about I knock off 10 years of your sentence? So, yeah. I don't know. It was, like I said, it was good. I don't know. Like I thought it was gonna be filler. I kind of felt like it was filler at first, and then it turned out to be not so much filler.
It's funny that we have only mentioned the child a couple times in this, talking about
well, because he was at school, like bullying that kid.
Yeah.
Taking his cookies from him.
Taking his cookies? Because the kid told him no?
Because he said, no, I don't want to share. And he's like, tough kid, you're sharing
just because
with
somebody
me.
tells you no. I tell this to my sister, who I love dearly, who says this a lot. Hey, can I borrow something? I'm like, no. Why not? Because I said so.
Yeah. Because
that's all you need to know.
Because Baby Yoda, no means no. No means no, Baby Yoda. No means no.
You have to learn that sometime.
Yeah, his the
or
little
you're gonna become a Sith,
right? The little subtitle is that damn Baby Yoda in his evil stomach.
He you know what he reminds me of? I don't know if you remember from I think it was the Looney Tunes, but there's this episode with this goat that would eat everything, and the goat ended up eating the roll of film that they were supposedly filming the cartoon on.
That's funny.
And that's how he is. He
just eats. He's an eating machine.
Everything.
So this leaves the question, right?
A bit.
He's grown a little bit, but he's still very tiny. How sentient is he? Right? Like how much does he understand right versus wrong at this point? So, he's 50 years old. So I'm thinking a species that lives for 800 years to be a baby for the first 100 years of existence is probably not the best way to perpetrate as a species and survive. Because if you have to wait a century for your next round of adults to come of age,
that's not good.
Yeah. No wonder there's only been 3 of them in all of canon so far.
Yeah, and that's a good question because, again, that question was raised with the whole he's murdering, sentient species because he's hungry type thing. I don't know. That's the thing.
I'll be honest.
It seems like he has a basic...
Yeah. He has a basic...
When he what?
Well, I was going to say, when he first pulled the cookies.
He just has, that was pretty funny. So... he has a basic understanding of danger, which, again, that's kind of inherent in most species. But I don't know exactly, how many neurons are firing up there, if you will. So, that's a question that I think we're going to see. Well, I think we're going to see more development of his when he goes with Ahsoka, and maybe he'll actually talk.
If he goes with Ahsoka, yeah. But it was really funny. He stole the cookies. Mando went and got them. He had the sleeve of cookies, and he's sitting there mowing down, and he totally throws up on himself.
And why did he look like he was on a roller coaster when they were flying?
Because that was because that was fun, and that's what you would do too. I would do that. You would do that. Everyone would do that because, that was great. But yeah, it just turned out to be a really good episode.
Again.
Good on you, Apollo Creed, for giving us a pretty compelling, kick-ass episode that was much better than it deserved to be.
Yeah, so. I would agree with that.
So yeah, so I mean,
halfway through the season.
Yeah, we're halfway there.
And
so
it looks like it's like, as JR used to say, business is about to pick up.
Yep. So it's gonna be Katie bar the door. My gird king. Yeah. So I tell you what, like, I'm so excited to see Ahsoka. I'm so excited. I really hope it's not just like at the end of the episode. I hope they get to it kind of quickly. I also hope this is not another 34, 36 minute runtime episode, because 2 in a row is not enough Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think they got my hopes up with that first episode. I'm like, oh yeah.
Ooh, 53 minutes. What?
Yeah.
So, because like if it says 36, it's really like 24 because of all the credits for all the voice actors in every country on the planet that Disney Plus is in, which is most of them. So, yeah.
So it's funny with the whole Ahsoka thing. I'm going to be in the, we were talking about Supernatural, how, I've been with that since the beginning. That's going to be you with Ahsoka, with me being more. Granted, I did watch that last season of Clone Wars, and I've watched all of Rebels, but so I don't have as much that pull with Ahsoka. I think she's a kick-ass character from the small parts I've seen of her, but yeah, I think you're like people like you that have followed her from the beginning are going to get a great episode. Yeah,
I think so too. So, and I love Rosario. I do. I think she's great. I've been a big fan of her ever since the movie Kids, when we were in college. So,
never saw that.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. It's not for everybody.
I heard it in an Eminem song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guilty conscience.
Yes, sir. So yeah, all right. It's just been been an interesting week, man. Like, we had a bunch of Star Wars news, we had a bunch of DC news. There's a bunch of other stuff just kind of going on with like just battling fan bases and things like that. Not even talking about the boob armor controversy let's rephrase that. The boob armor non-controversy that hit the internet over the week. Yeah.
The Deadpool 3 hires writers.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Please don't go full Reynolds
movie
again.
To be helmed.
Ugh.
Yeah. A new Predator movie.
Yeah, I said ugh. I didn't stutter.
The Expanse season 5 poster though.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah,
That's one thing we're looking forward to next month.
Yep, I'm halfway through season 2. I'm taking my time. I'm not binging all the way through it.
So I haven't started the rewatch yet, so I think I'm going to start that tonight.
I do like one a night. So anyway, but yeah. Well, cool. All right. I think that's it for this week. Anything else?
Yeah. No, that's about it.
All right.
All right.
So yeah, just again, thanks to Matt and Julian for backing us on Patreon. If you guys wanna help out the show, it's patreon.com/infamouspodcast. And yeah, check out the show on YouTube. Since you're at work, if you don't want to listen on your phone or whatever, episodes are on YouTube now as well. Cool. Any last words?
Endings are hard, man. Endings are hard.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
All right. See ya.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @infamouspodcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @BrianTudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is. And we'll see you next time. Later.